Hi, fifth graders. This is talking about the 4 different concepts that are dealing with your reading this week, as well as your workbook pages. Today we are going to go through those 4. If you look at what you see on the board here, probably looks familiar for what we did in class before. But let's go over these 4 topics. So there's ask and answer questions. In ask and answer questions, why do we do that? We do that to helps us to stay focused. Actually. Oops. All right, let's just add that ed on the end. There we go. Okay, helps us to stay focused. Asking questions does help us to stay focused. When you were reading your pre-reading, you had information about the changing views of the earth. So as you look at things like the section that says on the ground looking around, what do we see on the ground looking around? And if I was looking at in the sky looking down, well, what do I see when I look down? What can I know about looking down? When you have a lot of information, it's good to ask questions because it'll help us to actually stay focused on the text. The second one is cause and effect. Now, cause and effect, not going to spend a lot of time talking about, because with cause and effect, we have to cover that in science and social studies all over the place. Cause, it's why something happened. Effect is the thing that happened. When you think about that one, I want you to think about the word because, all right? You could have because the boy studied he got a good grade. All right. The idea here, which one was the cause and which one happened because of the other thing? Well, in this case, he got a good grade, that's the effect, because he studied, that's the cause. Because, cause, you see it right there in the word, because he studied. Because he studied, that's the cause. What happened? He got a good grade. We talked about that in social studies with like hurricanes and what happens. What is the cause of, or what's the effect of a hurricane, damage, things like that. So that cause and effect, when you're looking at that, think about the word because. In your book there, it shows you on 357, long ago people had only their eyes to see the skies. Their effect, they thought the sun orbited Earth. And, we find that's the way it looks, is like it's orbiting Earth, because when we look at that, when it's just our eyes, that's what we see, and that's the cause of them thinking that the Earth was having the sun rotate around it. All right, expository text. Expository text, we have something that gives facts in logical orders, supports with evidence, and there's different text features here. So first, facts in logical order. Okay, when it's an expository text, it's truth, it's factual, and those facts are going to be found in a good order. I'm not going to talk about the end of what happened before I talk about the beginning. If you're talking about something that developed, you want to talk about what happens first, what happens next, what happens after that. We support it with text evidence, or with evidence in the text. You have facts, things that build it up, so that if you make a statement that as you go back, you're like, oh yeah, there's the proof. Okay, so when you look at an expository text, you'll find proof of those facts that you've listed in the expository text. And finally, there's text features. Text features are the subheadings. The subheadings are the pieces that list the sections and what they're about. and they're usually in the bold words, a little bit bigger or different color even than the actual text that you're reading. Those subheadings help with the comprehension too, because they tell me what I'm going to be reading about. You have that in your social studies book. You have that in your science book. You have that also in this text that you're doing for reading. You'll see that because they're all expository texts. Photos. You have photos and diagrams. Photos and diagrams as your text features. Difference between a photo and a diagram is going to have labels. So as you're looking at a diagram, it's going to tell you more about things with lists of labels. Like if I have a picture of the atmosphere and it tells me the levels of the atmosphere, that's a diagram. If I have a photo of the sun that is just a picture, I don't have writing on it or labels like that. So I might have a subheading or a caption underneath there. I might have a caption under the picture, but I don't have a diagram with it. So the difference between that photo and diagrams are having labels, photos are not. Okay? And finally, our last page of information comes on Greek roots. The Greek roots for our for our reading. There's a lot of words that come from Greek, right? We've talked about that a little bit. Our whole scripture in the New Testament comes from the Greek words. It's written in Greek originally, so it's no surprise that in English, when we look at things, some of our words have Greek roots to them. And I'm just going to go over a few different prefixes, or not some are prefixes, but others are the base type of word. Meter meaning measure. We talked about meter in math. So like a thermometer is going to measure temperature. A barometer is going to measure the pressure, the air pressure. That meter means to measure. Geo means means earth. Geo means earth. Helio means sun. Centra means center. So if I say that something is heliocentric would mean that the sun is at the center. So if we talk about what we think about our solar system, we might say it's heliocentric because it's centered around the sun. If we're talking about geography, the study of the earth. Geography being the study of the earth. Geography means the study of, so the study of the earth. We can come up with meanings of words just based on those type of Greek roots that we see. Okay? I'm going to go over some of the workbook things with you just so you're clear on that. If you get out your workbooks and go to page 233, let's start there. On 233, you have some questions here about the passage. What details from the first two paragraphs help explain why astrobiologists are interested in Europa, one of Jupiter's moons? Why are they interested in one of Jupiter's moons? Okay, give me details about that. In other words, proof that they're interested in it. What does it say in those first two paragraphs? Number 2, what discovery on Earth caused scientists to become more interested in Europa? Again, what led to that? What's the cause of that? So you're looking for the cause of the and be more interested. What is the science's main reasons for studying the lake in Antarctica? What effect might their research have? Okay, because this, than this. Okay? So that's for those three on 233. On 236, or actually it's 235, sorry, 235 is the actual question. 233 is where your reading starts. 236, what genre of text is this? How do you know? After you tell me the genre, don't tell me specifics, but tell me what of these type of things do you see that helps you to know that it's expository text. Oops, I gave you an answer right there. What text features does this text include? Okay, text features right there. Which one does it include? How does the title relate to the main idea? And then finally, how does the graphic text feature help you better understand the text? So how does this text feature help you to understand what you read about? Okay. And then finally on 237, you have different words in Greek up at the top. Important piece there, it has the Greek roots on the top. And then you have a bolded word. And what you're supposed to write down are the Greek roots. Some will only have one root. Some will have more than one root, depending on the word. Look at the word, look at the roots up top, and see which ones you find that are part of that word, and then write what you think is the meaning of the word. Okay, based on those Greek roots that you have there and the sense that they're written in. Okay, so if something had like if it said heliocentric, you'd write down helio and centra, and then you'd write down centered around the sun. Okay, that's the type of thing you're going to do for 1 through 5 there on 237. Okay, hope that all makes sense, and have a great day.